Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the PLA podcast. I have an incredible guest here that I'm truly looking forward to interviewing. Sheethal, welcome.
Hi, Dunya. Thanks for having me today.
It's a true treat to have you on here, and I can't wait to dive into this incredible conversation and ask you all of these wonderful questions. But before I do so, I'd love to formally introduce you to our audience so they can get to know you like I have a PLA.
Mhm.
So please welcome Sheetal Harish. She brings over 11 years of experience into the IT industry with expertise spanning business analysis, quality assurance, and AI quality engineering. Throughout her career, she's been passionate about identifying complex challenges, solving meaningful business problems, and ensuring that the technology organizations build is both reliable and impactful. More recently, her work has focused on testing AI systems, agentic AI, large language models, and AI powered applications, helping bridge the gap between innovation and quality. She recently completed her studies in agentic AI at the University of Texas at Austin, where she gained hands on experience designing and building AI agents. Beyond her technical career, Sheetala enjoys creating content on social media, mentoring others, and giving back to her community through volunteering and cultural initiatives. What makes her journey especially compelling is her commitment to continuous learning, embracing emerging technologies while staying grounded in the human side of growth and leadership. Today, we'll explore her career journey, her perspective on the future of AI, and the lessons she's learned throughout embracing curiosity, innovation, and lifelong learning. Sheetala, welcome to the PLA podcast.
Thanks, Dunya. You did a great job of introducing myself. I didn't know that I have so many things
I love it.
to
I think
embrace. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's one of my favorite moments on the PLA podcast, and it sounds so silly, but it's such a gift to be able to reflect back to you, your
Mm-hmm.
story and your work and everything you've accomplished over the years. And so I love that moment at the very beginning where I get to share your
Mm-hmm.
beautiful accolades and your history on the
Thank
PLA
you.
podcast. Yeah, it's a true treat. Shital, I'd love to know, if we were to go back at the very beginning of your career, where did it all start?
Uh, I completed my engineering, and uh, that is where it started. In back in India, did my degree and came to United States.
Incredible. And
Yeah.
Sheetal, what is something you wish someone had told you at that time? Coming to the US is such a big change, right?
Yep.
Especially coming from India, there's a cultural background, there's a difference. Even with technology moving so quickly and you're at the beginning of your career, I want to know what is something you wish you had heard right at the very start, knowing everything that you know now?
Never stop learning, Dunya. When I finished my 12th grade and graduated and got placed in a company, and you feel like everything is settled, and you don't start updating your skill set, or the technology is moving so fast. And once you get a job, you feel, oh, I know everything and I am settled. When you start applying for the new job, whatever the skill set now you have in the current job might not imply currently imply to the next job whatever you're searching. So, as Vamshi said, dig the well before you are thirsty. Keep on learning new things. Never stop learning. That is one advice I would give myself or the younger generation.
Beautiful. And I love that. And it's so relevant no matter what point of our career we're in,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like even throughout things as we plateau, as we get comfortable, as we get familiar with where we're at and what we're working on, it's like, wait a minute, if I were to reintroduce this concept of never stop learning, what would I get curious about? Like, what would I start to focus on or discover or invest time in? So I love this piece around never stop learning. And someone who's gotten to know you over the last few months, you have invested so much in your own learning and you've been so
Yep.
committed to growth and getting out of your comfort zone. How was that like for you?
There was certain time that I felt like After coming so far, still I should learn. That was the one question point I had. If
So
if you
good.
want to keep growing, right, you have to start learning every day. That is one thing. Mm-hmm.
I love that. I think it's so fun and playful, and it is so true. So many of us, the more we grow in our careers, we're like, "What do you mean I'm still learning? When does it stop? When can I become an expert?"
But yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think that this is such a testament to your growing heart, your commitment,
Mm-hmm.
and your humble attitude. I think that
Yeah.
anyone who's gotten to know you has just gotten to know this beautiful, pure heart that's just like so committed to keep evolving. And it's
Mm-hmm.
been such a gift to get to know you over this time and to see you relentlessly putting in the effort and energy necessary for what's next and this next
Yeah.
version and iteration of you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sometimes, right? I have never done this podcast before. You feel nervous and all anxiety, butterflies are flying in your stomach. I don't know how people will receive you. Those are the things, right? I like to communicate with large audience, but I have never done. But I have one day I need to do it. I need to put lot of effort to go there. Yeah, that is one of my dream
Wow.
to accomplish. Yeah.
And I love that you are committed to already taking action on that today.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
I hope those that are listening to us now are just taking a moment to reflect for themselves. Where in your own life do you have dreams that you may not be taking action on right now that you might want to start getting inspired by our conversation today of Sheetal and I, of just saying, wait a minute, if she is already implementing the steps necessary to be able to build this long-term dream, what would be an invitation of where I could focus on in my own life where I could be doing that work. So I love that you brought this up, Sheetal, and it's just such a good invitation for the audience. I wanted to just put a little pause there and invite them to do that. And
Yep.
I love asking this, especially to our women in PLA. What is it like being a woman in tech? What is it like? Like, do you feel it? Do you not feel it? Like, what is your experience with all of this?
Working in tech as a woman, there are days that you are not 100% during the transition time. During those days are time you feel if somebody say something, it really hurts. It's not the way they are telling. It's your own emotions.
So
Other than that, coming to professionally, I feel like everybody is welcoming you, and whatever points you put in the table, some people will definitely receive it in a positive way. If you put your points in a correct perspective, they will definitely receive. Mhm.
love that. I think it's so playful. The thing is, like, depending on what time of the month, things will change. And just honoring, us
Yeah.
women, there are moments of the month where we look like a Wonder Woman, and there are moments, you know what, I could
Yeah.
relax a little bit more. But I
Hmm.
love the second piece of your answer, which is so important. And it's this piece around, so many of us are having this conversation about women in tech, but really the invitation is saying, if I'm bringing value, I'm bringing
Hmm.
value
Yep.
regardless. And if there is an invitation for me to grow, there's an invitation for me to grow. Whether or not I'm a woman, there's such a
Hmm.
beautiful invitation and just a way to just remind ourselves, no, I have a seat at the table because I bring value, not just because I'm a woman and not
Yep.
because I'm not a woman.
Hmm. Thank you.
I Oh, such a pleasure, Sheetal, to have you on here. Truly, I'd love to know. So many of us overlook the challenges because we're
Hmm.
focused on all the good stuff, the accolades, the accomplishments, and all that. I'd love to know in your own journey, what were the great challenges that you've had to face and that you've had to grow through that brought a lot of value for you and a lot of transformation opportunities in your own story?
Yeah, once I completed my 12th grade, right, I wanted to go to a degree college. There was a point my father was not financially capable of me sending to the college. And I didn't I felt, in a point I felt like maybe I won't be completing my degree. That is where I thought. And once I passed that hurdle, I came to know the value of education. And the second point is completed my degree in 2008. Once I graduated, it was a peak recession time, the global recession. It was hard for me to find my first job. I struggled a lot, and then finally I found it and worked in a startup. And after 1 2 years, right, and then I got a big breakthrough, worked in Apple. That is when I saw how the Apple cultures really working in a big company. The philosophy I learned during this phase is never give up, keep learning, keep adapting, never stop things and settle.
So beautiful. I love this story of like even from the very beginning, this piece of not necessarily having access to, the next levels of education and not knowing if you can complete it. So when you had the luxury and opportunity to do so, it was like, wow, it was so received and you didn't take it for granted because you knew
Yep.
what it was like of potentially not having it, which I think is massive. And we oftentimes overlook this in
Mhm.
privileged environments in the West, and this is in some ways the gift in not always having access to things is when we do, then all of a sudden what we can create is phenomenal, right? And to go
Yep.
from startup to Apple, like what a shift,
Mhm.
total difference in terms of the dynamic, how the organization works. Tell
Yep.
us a little bit of, I'm curious, this is my own curiosity, but what were your biggest learnings from being in startup and what were your biggest learnings from being in a corporation the size of Apple?
So when you come to startup, right, Dunya, you learn from scratch everything. You should be knowing UI, you should be knowing database, you should be knowing everything because you have minimum employees. And when it goes to production, if there is any issue in the production, you need to know everything. You learn a lot when you're in a smaller organization. That is what I feel. In coming to bigger organization, it's all organized step by step. Hey, this team will do this task, the other team, the QA team will do QA task, and we there is separate team, and everyone will every team will be allocated all their tasks, so you don't interfere between the teams and you don't know what other team is doing.
Wow.
It's like a blindfold. Yeah. I mean, the culture wise, I like both. uh, Being in a startup, you mingle with many people, and even the CEOs and everything, you have that connection. You build the connection and you are going to production and you're going to the client place. Everything from scratch you're working. When you're working in a bigger organization, there are many pieces you don't know. We need to fill the blanks by ourselves. Yeah.
Absolutely. I loved like just imagining it as you were describing it, both worlds and the value that you've gotten, the experience that you've gotten from both, which served probably even your time at Apple, having been in
Mm-hmm.
startup, having touched so much, having to be so adaptable, and I think just the thought that comes up in my mind as we're having this conversation is, every part of our journey feeds the next part, feeds the next
Yes.
part. And so, like, I'm again inviting the audience and saying, what if the part of the journey that I'm on currently is simply feeding what's coming next?
Yeah.
Sometimes yeah, go for it, Sheetal.
Yeah, actually, whatever we are facing now today, Dunya, it's the stepping stone for the next. God is indirectly preparing you for your next step. Maybe you might not be knowing it, but God is preparing you mentally so that you can handle that bigger pressure.
Absolutely. And I loved the way you put it. Like, God is really divinely intervening in all of
Hmm.
this. And little do you know how good it's about to get.
Yep.
Speaking of tech, speaking of big companies, speaking of a lot of change and what's next, I'd love to ask you the question that everyone is asking right now. What is
Mhm.
your perspective on AI? How are you implementing it? How are you finding it? And I'd love to get your take on it.
So every decade there is a big change in technology. It goes through major breakthrough. There was one era where we had internet and then smartphone and cloud computing, and now we are in artificial intelligence era. I don't think AI will replace human. Whatever AI is doing, using AI we are amplifying our work. That is how we should see. When internet came, right, there were many people who did not use, or they had hard time adapting it. The same way, if you adapt easily the AI, the technology, you keep your career goes a longer way. That is what I wanted to say.
Yeah, absolutely. The power of adaptability.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that AI is just the phase and the chapter of the or the season that we're in technology, but the next season is going to be a building block from this. And the
Mm-hmm.
secret
Yeah.
is really adaptability to all of these changes that continuously will
Mm-hmm.
continue to come along the way.
Yeah, using AI, we should be more productive and amplify our, maybe some of the tasks we were taking like 2 to 3 days or 5 days. Now it will be done in half an hour. So we are amplifying the work and we are doing double the work. How well you use AI, that is how well you adapted. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'd love to know, Sheetal, when we talk, actually, another question I would love to ask you is we are on the PLA podcast and you've taken the big step of spending so much time and energy really in your own growth. And it's
Yes.
not something that a lot of people do. So many people think like, oh, I'm going to focus on my technical skills or what's offered at the office. Very few people go out in the world and say, no, I'm going to fully invest in myself because I believe in my 3.0, 4.0 version of myself. What has been the most surprising thing that you've gotten out of PLA that you're thinking, wow, I didn't expect that?
There are many things, Dunya. Every day, right? I'm improving myself. That is one thing. There was a day when Vamshi and Venkat asked me to record for a minute, Brandon, through communication, and I did not able to record myself. I when I saw the video going back, right? Oh, am I speaking so badly? So that is the stepping stone, Dunya. I wanted to, oh, okay, I want to overcome this. After doing like 50 or 100 videos, right, I was more comfortable.
Wow.
And I go, one is I was comfortable, and I don't know how to say it. Uh, I I mean, I was very happy that I did it. I came out of my comfort zone. It was hard for me to do all those things. Even when Vamshi and Venkat asked me to post a LinkedIn post, right? I always post on Instagram my photos or my videos or anything, but LinkedIn, I feel like maybe everyone knows whatever topic I'm speaking. Why should I even post it? Who will watch or who will respond? But now I have came through. I have come to a point like if I want to post it, right, let me post. It's not about somebody liking it or encouraging me, but for myself, if I go back and look into it, right, I feel happy. That is one change. There are many changes, Dunya. I don't know. I was not this confident and I was not this career oriented, first of all.
Wow.
So, after seeing so many people who are investing every day on their careers, I'm doing like for 58 hours a day in a week. I'm working so hard when they say, right? Oh my God, am I? spending so much of hard work. I'm reflecting on myself whenever somebody says some points, right? I am reflecting on myself and making sure, oh, should I implement this? Even the journaling and morning meditation, those are the simple steps we might have heard before, but we have not implemented. That is the difference I am seeing myself. Before, I did not implement any of those things. Now I am implementing every day, and I'm seeing that positive change. I should be more consistent, I am feeling, as I go to gym every day. But I'm not doing the same thing in meditation or in my journaling or anything. So I should be consistent. That is what I want to promise myself and keep moving.
Beautiful. And I think you're so right, Sheetal. Some of these exercises seem so simple, and
Mhm.
yet most of us aren't implementing them. And those are outside of all the career and communication refinements and personal branding and all these things. But those pieces around regular meditations, journaling, these are the pieces that really anchor and allow
Mhm.
all of the other skills that we're learning to be grounded in something that we can, that is actually workable, something that we can
Yep.
do something with. So I totally agree. And Chital, I'd love to ask you my
Mhm.
favorite question on the PLA podcast ever is, what is the legacy and impact you're still looking forward to leave behind in the world?
Coming to legacy and impact, that is two strong words, Dunya. Both are legacy and impact, two strong words. I want to break it down into two parts. One is my as a professional, and the second is as a personal thing. Coming to professional, I I want to work in my dream company. That dream is not successful yet. I am working for it, and I want to be remembered as someone who never stops learning, embrace all the challenges, and inspire others. Those are the things I should, if somebody look, that is the impact I should give them. Coming to personal, I want to be do lot of social service. Once I retire, right? They should not only think about my professional. I, even when it comes to personal, I want to do a lot of social service activities. I want to dedicate my time in my social service and helping people, serving people. Those are the things I look forward, Dunya. Those
Oh,
are the two things. On my deathbed, I don't want to have any single regret. And sometimes I do imagine my deathbed, and yeah, it should be, I should not have any regret. That is one thing.
so beautiful. I think that anybody who has you on their team, Sheetal, would be so privileged to have you. You're just
Mhm.
so dedicated, so committed, but also such a beautiful heart with so many great values. You are a true asset, a true gift to, any organization you work with. I have zero doubt about it. And I really wanted to thank you for your time today, for your incredible wisdom, for this phenomenal conversation. And I look
Thanks,
forward to
Dunya.
having you on again as a PLA podcast guest in the near
Thanks,
future.
Dunya. Thanks for your time. I never did podcast with anyone. This is my first one. You made so comfortable, relaxed, and I did not had any tension. So hope this podcast went really good. I love the energy what you brought to the table. Thanks, Dunya, for having me.
Thank you for coming. Really, it's been an absolute gift to have you, and I'm looking forward to it again. And to
Mhm.
everyone who tuned in, I hope you got phenomenal value and got some great notes and, have some phenomenal takeaways that I will be leaving with for sure. So, and looking forward to having you all for the next episode of the PLA podcast.
Thank you, Dunya.
Thank you.